Okay, everybody, it's been fun analyzing and predicting and watching your comments on these videos, but here we are, one day away. Tomorrow, Alabama and USC will play, and I'm here to predict the score and the outcome of that game. Now, getting into the actual analysis of the matter, uh, who wins this game, what's the score? So, when I look at this game, no one can say definitively that USC is less talented than Alabama. So let's just get that out of the way already. USC is not, less talented or inferior to Alabama. Uh, that's not going to play a big part in this at all. When two talented teams play together, it's going to be a good game. The outcome's determined by many other things. So let's get into those. So the question is, how does Alabama move the ball with a new quarterback, new running back, basically a new look offense? And so this is where coaching and scheme comes into play. So we know that Lane Kiffin is Alabama's offensive coordinator, who was the head coach of USC when Clancy Pendergrass, current USC defensive coordinator, was hired as defensive coordinator the first time. So we can deduce that Lane Kiffin is aware of and intimate with Clancy Pendergrass's defense. I mean, it doesn't mean he knows the ins and out, but he hired the guy for a reason. And naturally, that would assume that Lane Kiffin, with some knowledge of Clancy Pendergrass, does have a plan to address Clancy Pendergrass' aggressive, blitzing, changing front, confusing defense. Lane Kiffin's familiar with it. So I'm expecting Lane Kiffin to call a game plan that's naturally a counter to Clancy Pendergast's defense. Not to say that Clancy Pendergast's defense won't have success throughout the game, because I'm pretty sure he knows Lane Kiffin's offense in through the same vein. So that chess match is going to be fun to watch. What I predict will happen in this matchup, though, is that Lane Kiffin will find a way to move the ball against Clancy Pendergast's unproven defense. I mean, and the thing is, everybody's unproven at this point because we haven't seen anybody play. But I believe that USC's defensive front, the front seven, is not ready to hold up against Alabama. Based on Alabama's track record, so that's using the past again because we don't have any footage for this year. But Alabama's consistently been able to run the ball, and offensive linemen have turned in and out, knocking people over, with the exception of last year. It should be better this year. And so, in watching USC's defensive line, who we don't know what we're going to get out of, we know they're talented, but we don't know what we're going to get. My prediction is that Alabama's line will dominate the line of scrimmage, or at least be able to move well enough to get our running game going. And no matter how good Clancy Pendergast's scheme is and what he dials up, if they're not able to stop Alabama from asserting their will, it won't matter in the end if Alabama's consistently being able to churn out running yards, being able to run the ball. I mean, we saw it against Clemson in the national championship game. Clemson was able to get pressure, but they couldn't stop Derrick Henry. Here's what I believe is going to happen concerning Max Brown's production for USC. I believe that Alabama will be able to stop the run. Yes, I know Justin Davis and Ronald Jones are talented, but Alabama's MO is stopping the run. We have great, fast linebackers, and we have defensive linemen who hold the well against the point of the attack and who also are very disruptive. I believe Alabama will hold USC's running game in order. We do our best holding running games in order. It's been like that for the past few years, and especially against teams who run more pro-style concepts. We excel stopping the run. We did it against Leonard Fournette. We did it against Wisconsin. You know, it repeatedly showed up throughout the season where Alabama continues to stop the run. Throughout the day, and that's Alabama's MO. So that puts a lot more pressure on Max Brown to make the plays. And as a first year starter, redshirt junior, he's going to have to take the reins of the offense and use his talented receivers, make some plays with Juju Smith-Schuster, Darius Rogers, and Steven Mitchell, and see if he can overcome the fact that he's lacking a consistent running game. And not only will Alabama be able to stop the run, but I also believe that Alabama's front seven will generate tons of pressure. Tim Williams and Ryan Anderson off the edge. The outside linebackers I just mentioned, Tim Williams and Ryan Anderson. I'm predicting right now that they will be too quick for the USC offensive line and the tackles anyway. I believe that Zach Banner will get beaten by Tim Williams pretty consistently, and if not, just like I'm not saying continuing throughout the game, but enough to put enough pressure on Max Brown to make him look over his shoulder, hold on to the ball, and make mistakes. I believe that will happen in the game. And so when you couple that with the fact that USC won't be able to run the ball as well, and the pressure on Max Brown, I do not believe the USC offense will be able to move the ball consistently against Alabama. Another aspect of the game that I have not been able to go over a lot or at all really is the fact of special teams play. Alabama is more experienced on special teams than USC, and special teams usually plays a big factor in Alabama in opening games. Um, Alabama returns J.K. Scott, who was a Ray Guy Award finalist for Best Punter as a freshman in 2014, and last year he slumped a little at the beginning but came on strong toward the end. We return him. Adam Griffith coming back at kicker, who at times has struggled because of back injuries, but when he's locked on, he's on. We have our kicker and punter and a new return man. But even with those things together, we're more experienced and in a better situation. USC at special teams. USC's kicker, Bullmeister, has never attempted a field goal since in college. He's did point after attempts, but he has not done field goals. And so it's going to be interesting to see as a new kicker coming into this environment, first game, how will he respond? Will he be a good kicker? At punter, also returning a new guy there. Uh, we're going to see how USC special teams plays. Special teams has always been an integral part of Alabama's team, and we will see how that factor plays. And I believe that Alabama having the advantage in special team will pin USC deep a lot, and that will force USC to have to drive longer on the field against the Alabama defense, which is a tough thing to do. Also, with USC's new kicker, we're going to see how much confidence they have in him. Will USC be going for a lot of fourth downs when they get into Alabama territory because of the kicker, or will they rely on their kicker? I believe that Alabama has the advantage there, and that gives Alabama the advantage in getting points like special teams touchdowns or even the field goals in clutch situations or pinning the opponent back. So that's a factor against USC. Ultimately, I believe that leads to Alabama winning the game 30-17. I believe not necessarily that Alabama's just going to steamroll the USC and we're just going to let USC kind of catch up at the end. I believe that this will be a hard fought game that will go deep into the fourth, but I believe Alabama gets that last margin toward the end. Uh, through special teams and through the running game as well as play action pass. That's just been Alabama's formula, and I believe it continues to work because, like I said before, my prediction is that USC's front will not be able to stop Alabama running the ball and establishing themselves. And that's the prediction. Like I said, we don't know what's going to happen till the game gets here, but that's what I believe is going to happen. USC could surprise me, could make things could make it very interesting. But my prediction is that because Alabama will be able to establish themselves and USC won't be able to stop them, that puts Alabama in prime position to win this game. Couple that with the fact that USC's offense will be greatly hampered by Alabama's defense. They will in no way be able to score enough to beat Alabama. They'll probably be able to make some plays to Juju Smith-Schuster, but they won't be able to score enough to beat Alabama. That's my prediction. Alabama 30, USC 17. I know you're going to come at me hard, USC fans. If you disagree, and I believe you may, write it down in the comments and let me know what you think. I want to know why you disagree. I want you to tell me what do you think will happen, in contradiction, or tell me why do you agree. Like I said, these are predictions. We won't know until until it hits the leather tomorrow. It's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited, but I do believe Alabama will win. Thank you guys for listening. Let's see what happens.